As we continue to report on the American crisis of mass shootings, we're joined by New York Post columnist Maureen Callahan. She's been studying those who have killed so many precious and innocent people and is here to talk about what she's found. Maureen, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So you've written about the connection between angry young men, and mass shootings. What have you found?
Well, the initial column that I wrote was really asking the question, why are so many of these mass shooters overwhelmingly young white men? The first of the three perpetrators who unleashed this kind of carnage in just the last week alone was reportedly asked, "Why are you doing this?" during the assault, and he said, "Because I'm really angry." And so from there, I thought that was a really interesting point to jump off into, hoping to start a national dialogue.
One of the things that you did was, in your first column, you asked the question, why are young men so angry? And people responded, and you got hundreds of responses. From those responses, did you come up with any theories? Was there any distinct answer that you found why these young men could be so angry?
I wish I had a distinct answer. I wish someone had a distinct answer. I feel like were it that simple, this problem would have been solved a long time ago. What I was hearing from readers was a multitude of potential reasons, from feeling overworked, underappreciated, as though the culture has since pushed them aside, that they are just sort of are verbal references constantly in the culture to things like toxic masculinity or white male privilege are sort of eroding away at the identity of this cohort. Yet still, it does seem to me quite an existential problem why the only outlet for this kind of anger or resentment is mass carnage.
In your article, you mentioned that this trend started long before President Trump, which many people have blamed for articulating some of this hate. What did you see? When do you think this trend started?
I think that Columbine was sadly the spark that lit the fuse. We saw a lot of copycats, and since then you've seen a lot of young men find refuge in really dark corners of the internet, and they find some sort of succor in hate groups, in groups that seek to blame the other. And largely you've got, young men who are attracted to white supremacist teachings.
So how has the culture changed so that the angry young men are changed? How do we change this?
Again, I wish I had the answer, but we do need to, I do believe, have a real national conversation about what is plaguing young American men so deeply.
Maureen Callahan, columnist for the New York Post, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.